Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on January 3rd, 2023, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. Take roll call. Councilwoman Donovan? Here. Councilwoman Kinney?
Here.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Here.
Councilwoman Romanero?
Here.
Councilman Levis?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our troops and their families and the first responders. And if you've noticed, the flag is at half-mast for the American lives lost in the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Thank you. Next, we have a proclamation for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Proclamation designating the month of October in each year as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas National Breast Cancer Awareness Month educates women about the importance of early detection for breast cancer. Since NBCAM's inception, mammography has doubled and breast cancer death rates have declined. Still, many women do not utilize mammography at regular intervals. Whereas, in recognition of the fact that mammography is the best available method of detecting breast changes that may be cancer, long before physical symptoms can be seen or felt, and that breast cancer deaths could decline further if all women aged 40 and older received mammograms at regular intervals. Whereas October 2023 marks the 39th anniversary of National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is dedicated to increasing awareness of breast cancer issues, especially the importance of early detection. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the Mayor and the Council of the Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim October as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All women and their families in the Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, and State of New Jersey are urged to get the facts about mammography and breast cancer detection.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Workshop discussions. We're going to have a presentation, but we're just waiting for a few more individuals, I believe. Let me just start with two things. First, I'd like to thank our Public Works Department, Office of Emergency Management, obviously DPW, the police, who helped with the issues we had last weekend with the excessive rain that we experienced here in Belmar. That was actually also on top of the little bit of a storm we had the weekend before, where winds were blowing sand all over the beach and the boardwalk. The fire department received many calls due to flooding and overworked sump pumps, and we'd really like to thank the neighbors, especially Councilman Levis, who spent probably the entire day pumping out residents' homes. And I think that's a great thing that we can do as a community. And perhaps maybe in the future we can make it a little more organized and find people who have those types of that type of equipment. So we'll be, you won't be running around all by yourself. But we received many calls. They did the best they could. I think they're still trying to clean up the boardwalk a little bit, but it will get done. It was very hard because as it was windy, it was also raining, which made it very heavy. So thanks again to everyone. The only other thing I'll mention is that the work on the firehouse, the 11th Avenue firehouse, has begun. I think it's progressing very, very smoothly, and I don't have a date when it's going to be done, but I think it probably will be done sooner than we anticipated. So that's good news. And that's all I have for workshop. We're going to do the presentation now for the Junior Lifeguard Awards.
All right, the first person we want to award is Caitlin Kuntz. In recognition of finishing first place in the U19 Beach Flags Female 230 United States Lifeguard Association Junior Lifeguard Nationals on August 7th, 2023 in Virginia Beach. Congratulations. Also, Caitlin, in recognition of finishing first place U19 Beach Sprint Female 201 United States Lifeguard Association Junior Lifeguards Nationals on August 7th. Congratulations. Now this runs in the family, Morgan Kuntz. In recognition of finishing first place A Division Beach Flags Female 430 United States Lifeguard Association Junior Lifeguard Nationals. Also, first place, second place, A Division distance run. Congratulations. And Ryan Abogabel, in recognition of finishing first place, A Division Beach Flags United States Lifeguard Association Junior Lifeguards Nationals, August 7th, 2023. Congratulations. Great job, guys. Let's get a picture of the whole council together. Listen, Nicolette, come on up to
Here, why don't you get ready for your Don't trip.
Awesome, everyone good? Awesome. Perfect. Congratulations.
Okay, that's all I have for workshop. We start at this end.
I just wanted to update everyone really quick. We were talking about that new ordinance that passed on the state level regarding cars, noise coming from cars. It turns out, thank you, Mr. McGill, that we do not need to pass any additional ordinances here in town for that to go into effect here. So that's good news for everyone who's been concerned about that particular issue.
So I had something for workshop. Today we'll be seeing a resolution on the agenda for a military veteran banner program. If you or a member of your family, a friend lives here in Belmar and is either active duty military or a veteran in any of the branches, you can order a banner that will be placed around town. Tomorrow we'll have an active link on our website, belmar.com, to apply. We're hoping to get a good amount of banners up in time for Veterans Day, so we're asking residents to submit their applications by next Tuesday, the 17th. The application will request the name, branch of service, years served, and a high-quality picture. We're using the Wingman Printing Company in Belmar, and they have kindly offered to take headshot pictures if you don't have a high-resolution military picture on hand, and you or your loved one would like to come in for a headshot. They will be doing that free of charge. The cost for each banner is $100. You can purchase one for yourself, a loved one, neighbor, or if you're a community member, you can sponsor a veteran banner.
Maria, you've been working so hard on this. Thank you so much on behalf of everyone. I know our family would love to sponsor someone in town, so if we can start that fund, that would be, I think everyone would love something like that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for including the Merchant Marine in that as well.
Any other matters for workshop? Okay, let's move along. Petitions?
I did not receive any petitions. Next is approval of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 26th meeting?
Motion?
Second.
Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckles-Hull?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rondero?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Okay, reports of council. Councilwoman Donovan?
Trying to make sure my microphone is nice and close to my face. We have a lot of things coming up in anticipation of Halloween and the other holidays. On October 10th, which is this Friday, the Belmar Kids Club will be having a Halloween dance party at the Belmar Municipal Gym here in town. Costumes encouraged. On October 18th, at Taylor Pavilion, there will be the Senior Ice Cream Social with ice cream provided by Coney Waffle. Thank you very much. That will be from 2 to 4 p.m. On October 21st, we have October 21st and 22nd, that's the weekend, we have the yard sale in town, which was rained out a few times, so that is really great. I know a lot of people were very curious about that. Then we have on October 23rd, a free concert for Belmar Cares Breast Cancer Support Group. This is going to be a really great event. I encourage everyone to go. It will be at Taylor Pavilion and presented by the Atlantic Wind Ensemble. Free offering, but a donation at the door is appreciated. We encourage you to bring folding chairs as seats are filled quickly. Doors open at 6. Then we have the Belmar Women's Club. The next meeting is on November 1st. That will be at Taylor Pavilion as well. This is a great organization. I encourage everyone to get out and visit, go to a meeting. They will also be having a big event on January 17th from 12 to 4 at Spring Lake Manor. Early bird tickets by November 1st are $50, and this will go towards their scholarship fund, which last year they raised over $9,000 for scholarships for local students. So please consider buying a ticket, and please consider coming to the next meeting. It's a really great organization.
Councilwoman McKinney.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so at our last ADA meeting, we did talk a little bit more about the handicap spots that needed a little bit of repainting. I reached out to Mr. Musto about that and passed those spots along. Hopefully we can get those handicap spots painted. The next meeting is going to be Thursday, October 26th. The next Shade Tree Commission meeting is actually this Thursday, October 12th at 6:30. And recreation, there's a lot going on in recreation. They're gearing up for Trunk or Treat and the costume contest, which is all going to happen Friday, October 27th in Belmar Elementary and 12th Ave lot. So it's not going to be outside here. It's going to be over at the grammar school. So trunk participants are needed. So if you want to participate and put your trunk into the trunk or treats, please reach out to Barry Trogu at recreation@belmar.com no later than October 21st to enter your trunk. On the 27th, on Friday the 27th, the costume registration starts at 4:30. The contest judging starts at 5:30, and the actual trunk or treat is at 6 p.m. Live music will be by the Beach Music Rock Band, which is the kids' rock band, so come out and see the kids rock out. And a couple other things, K-2 first grade basketball clinic signups, along with second grade and 8th grade basketball signups are still going on if you want to register your kids for basketball. And Belmar Youth Club signups are going on now. Youth Club will start on November 18th. Youth Club is for Belmar and Lake Como residents in grades 3rd to 8th grade. Any questions about that, you can reach out to Barry in Recreation. And then a couple things around the schools. St. Rose Grammar School is also doing a trunk or treat. That's Friday the 20th, so that's next week, not to be interfered with the 27th at the grammar school, the elementary school. And the grammar school wants everyone to know that they're always available to give families tours if they would like to tour the grammar school and see that. You can always reach out to the main office of St. Rose Grammar School. And St. Rose High School had their 41st annual walkathon celebration this past Friday. We were all there. They invited us. The whole mayor and council were there. It was a beautiful prayer service, reading of the proclamation of the centennial, and then we walked. Councilwoman Donovan and I actually did walk half of it. The money that they raised for the walkathon, they raised over $20,000. And it will go to new bleachers in the high school, which is great. And then lastly, Belmar Elementary, October 12th is the next Board of Ed meeting, 7 p.m. Tuesday, October 17th is High School Information Night at the grammar school. So it's not only Manasquan High School, but all the vocational schools, Red Bank Regional, Mass, Communications, Allied Health, High Tech, Biotech representatives will be there at the grammar school to meet with parents and students about options for high school. And then on October 26th is the annual lip sync show. So don't miss. Don't come out and see the lip sync show for that. And by the way, that high school information night is at 6 p.m. on October 17th. And that is all I know.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Rundle.
Thank you, Mayor. I enjoyed being a part of St. Rose 100 year of excellent prayer service. That was really nice. Nice to all be there. And the Historical Society had a wonderful program about the history of diners in New Jersey. I had the privilege of walking in the Seashell Run for the Circle of Friends and commend them on their walk and their hard work on Boardwalk this summer with their cafe. And our mayor and council all enjoyed the Hook and Ladder fundraiser on the 30th. We were very grateful to Hook and Ladder and all of our first responders. Belmar Housing Authority. The Belmar Housing Authority passed their budget last meeting. The elevator will have that major overhaul in getting modernized and up to code. It's going to take 2 to 4 weeks for drawings and 8 to 10 weeks for the equipment production. And while the elevator is down, residents will have use of the freight elevator. Belmar Library. The next author time is Wednesday, October 11th at 6 p.m. at the library, featuring Belmar native author Mick Bennett as he discusses his newest book, Take the Lively Air, set right here in Belmar. The library is happy to present Mr. Ray's Kids Concert, October 28th at 12 noon at Taylor Pavilion. Bring the kids and family and enjoy great rock music focusing on themes of kindness, generosity, and diversity. This event is free and open to the public. Please register to attend on our website. And the library will be celebrating their second annual Diwali Festival of Lights on Thursday, November 9th at 6:30 p.m., Taylor Pavilion. Everyone's welcome to come and learn about this globally popular Indian holiday, sample some Indian food, and enjoy Bollywood and classical Indian dance. Finally, the public library wants to thank Sean from DPW for excellent craftsmanship in designing, building, and installing a new shelf cabinet in the main floor. Thanks to him, we'll have a much better place to store and organize children's puzzles, equipment, and other items. The cabinet looks beautiful and matches perfectly with our main look and decor, and they say, great job, Sean. So if you can pass that along, Charlie, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, Council President Levis.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind everyone that our very own Pat Halpin has organized a couple of weeks of singing Irish folk songs down at Heisman Gazebo. He did this all on his own. He really wanted to get together and sort of bring the community together to sing songs a cappella over the guitar. And it's coming to an end. So the next one is going to be this Thursday at the gazebo between 6 and 8, and then there'll be another one October 26th between 6 and 8. So if you have some time, go check it out. It's really low key, very mellow, just kind of fun. Good get together to sing some old Irish traditional songs. That's all I have there.
Okay, thank you. I guess we're up to public session on the resolutions.
Okay, if anyone from the public would like to speak regarding a resolution listed on the agenda, please step forward, state your name and address. Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Romanero?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
We do not have any ordinances, so next is public session. Please step forward, state your name and address before you speak. Thank you.
Kyle Rizzatello, 14th Avenue, Belmar. I have one issue, well, actually I have two issues. One issue, 14th Avenue and K Street. There is Westport owns the rights to the landscaping on the sidewalk side on our street, which is K Street, and part of 14th. Their shrubs are overgrown across the sidewalk. We have small kids that are walking to school now, and they're walking in the street. So if you can get a hold of Westport and tell them that they've got to cut those things back and have that sidewalk exposed. The other thing is on 14th and K, we have, when you pull up to the corner, there's a stop sign. A lot of people don't know what STOP means. There's a lot of small kids on that block. In front, there's a bright arrow that points this way, and then there's a one-way street that points to turn. And there's two posts that are there. One post has the one-way sign on it. The other post doesn't. Is there any way we can put a stop sign on that second post. There's a one-way sign on the post on the left. Can we put a stop sign there? Even though the stop sign is on 14 and K, everybody that I know that runs it said, I didn't see it, I just saw the arrow. Is there any way that we can get,
I can look into it.
okay, thank you very much.
Sorry.
And also I'd like to thank George from the borough. He put our breast cancer flag up in Piano Plaza. I had the flag, I had the new flag, and he came over, picked it up, and it is up in Piano Plaza, so I want to thank George for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, I have flyers, if anybody wants flyers for the concert.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Mr. Gilbert?
All right, not to let this go, I'd like to talk about the geese again. And tonight I brought some material here I'd like you to look at. It's logical and it has worked. It has worked, as other than what we do that we know doesn't work. But we want to do that again. There you go, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
And this was, Mr. Creamer here has an idea too, which is also logical. It might very well work as opposed to not working, which is, I don't understand that logic. Continuing to do something that doesn't work. Some real smart guy said something about that years ago. He said to continue to do something that doesn't work shows that the person is insane. They said he was smart. I didn't think he was so smart because he also said that pies are square. And everybody knows pies are round. But in this thing here, it's the Department of Agriculture that's behind this project that worked up in the town of Edgewater, New Jersey, and everything. And it has to do with the extermination of the geese and everything. It worked over a period of time. The geese aren't there. They have stopped now exterminating the geese because the problem is well in hand. But the mayor, as a picture here, says that if it happens again, if the geese get out of control again, he will initiate it again. Because it's logical and it works. As opposed to what we want to do and everything. So I recommend you do this. Otherwise, anybody else wants it, I have a few more copies of this. I recommend you do this and everything, and stop this insanity, because everybody that lives down there near Silver Lake, it's a nasty thing. And everybody that visits the town, it's a crummy, lousy thing, and it has you know, it's detrimental to health and everything. So we should drive these geese away. Unfortunately, it will take some harsh things to do, but you're on the council and everything. You have to do those things that are harsh for the benefit of your tax-paying base. No matter who they vote for, they are your base. They are the people that live here. And that's what's being done for. It's not being done for anything else. Also, something I didn't know. They kill these geese with carbon monoxide. Now, I thought maybe that meat would be tainted and everything, but that's not so. It can be used, and it is used and everything. It says it in here. They use it, they send it to a slaughterhouse, and they use the meat and everything. So there's all sorts of logical, I'm sorry for saying that word, and beneficial things for the town here. So we should do it. Now, another thing here, I'll bring up from last time. I've noticed in this town, there are starting to be a good amount of vagrancy going on. Certainly, you can see the people who have means of support. You can see by their attire and everything else, they're just wandering around town. And they're not doing any good. You can expel them. There's a way of doing it. Maybe it's not, it's borderline legal and all of that stuff and everything, but it can be done, and it should be done before it gets out of hand. I'll use another word, the homeless. This can get out of hand. And the time to do this is now, before it does get out of hand, which I'm sorry to say again, it is illogical and everything. Sorry to keep bringing that up. Logic gets in the way of a lot of things, doesn't it? Now, one last thing about the concept of the councilwoman being uncomfortable last meeting. Now, I think I rethought that. I can see that the female council members might be uncomfortable at times. And I think at some point, if any of you are uncomfortable, just raise your right hand and we'll go to a recess of 20 minutes and everything, where you can bring yourself back into some sort of regularity and everything, not be all nervous in the service about this. And if in 20 minutes you are not able to resume, then call your husband to come and take in charge of you. And
I would like to say something.
you're interrupting me?
I'm sorry, if you're not done, continue.
I'm finished.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I-
As a female councilwoman, I can assure you that Councilwoman Montanaro was being polite when she said she was uncomfortable.
Oh, I thought it was her shoes.
Okay. And I can also assure you that none of us need our husbands to come in and do anything for us.
If you were laying in the gutter, bleeding and everything, you wouldn't want your husband to take charge of you?
I think we.
What's wrong with you?
I think we all
Nothing.
understand your position. I've made it perfectly clear. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for your comments. Anyone else to add to that?
Sorry for saying logic.
Linda Sharkus, 4th Avenue. I want to address the Women's Club and their event. There are flyers in the hallway for our fundraiser that goes for scholarships. And please, I hope everybody here could, all the women here, and even the men, if they'd like to come, could set up a table. Because we're looking to grow the event where we have a couple rooms at Spring Lake Manor, and it's going to be a marvelous event. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on. Oh, maybe we'll get you.
Thank you. Eugene Creamer, 4th Avenue. This was about a month ago. And apparently the mayor and council made a good decision with ordinance, I think it was 2023-13. That was adding 2 stop signs at the intersection of 4th and River Avenue and Inlet Terrace. I didn't see the accident myself. I saw the lights flashing, so there was a motor vehicle accident at that intersection. I saw the lights flashing, and later on somebody requested, the list of motor vehicle accidents, which seems to be a popular subject on the Oprah page. It seems that a lot of people, I don't know whether they're attorneys or what, but in any case, I took a look at the motor vehicle accident, and it was on September 6th at it looks like about 9:45 in the morning, and somebody was coming around on River Avenue apparently, and there was a car on 4th Avenue that did not come to a full stop. One of the people was taken to the hospital. The police report didn't say it was a serious accident, but in any case, that's what had happened there. So, you know, that idea of putting a stop sign there is, you know, supported by by the motor vehicle accident. The other thing was, this was last meeting, Mr. Bauman was here, the development attorney, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I had a question, and he's about whether affordable housing development fee for the installation of a swimming pool. And he said, I doubt whether a swimming pool was covered. And he said he would get back to us. Had he gotten back to the town on that question?
No, but I believe we have him, is he here in the next?
Yes.
Yeah, he will be here at the next council meeting, so we will, I don't know if we're gonna see him between now and then, but he definitely will be here, so we'll remind him.
Mayor, I'll reach out and send an email so that he's
Okay,
ready
so
to
he knows. Okay, yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah, that was in the public session,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he did say that he would get back to us.
Okay. We'll make sure
Thank
he
you.
does.
One other bit of information, and I just saw this today. People that are interested in the Verizon's proposal. This was from the DEP, NJDEP bulletin, and just for everybody's information, Tri-Leaf, who is the, I guess, the environmental consultant for Verizon, they filed for a NEPA review from the NJDEP. That was on August 31st, and the DEP responded back to them on 9/20/2023. So they're taking steps forward with their project.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? One.
John Sharecki, 111 6th Avenue. I was fortunate enough to be able to put a new sprinkler system on my house on 111 6th in June. Can I just show you this? I got a water bill, $1,742. Wow. It's not fun. Now, I later found out the reason why it's so expensive is because a lot of the money goes towards sewage, which is about 60% of your bill. I don't know if people know this or not. But, so, about 90% of the water, and my average bill probably during the summer was about $300 or $400. I've been there for 26 years. So, about $1,000 of that bill went to sewage, but I didn't process any sewage. It didn't cost the town 1 penny, not 1 cent did it extra. So I really believe I should get my $1,000 back. Number two, I think when you go for a permit, somebody should tell you you should get a second meter. I have a question. Do you have a second meter at your house?
No, I don't have sprinklers.
You know, does anybody have sprinklers here? Do you have 2 meters?
Many of my neighbors do.
Do you know that you're paying extra money that you don't have?
I do, but it would cost me a lot of money to put an extra meter in.
It's spelled
And I
out.
don't use my sprinkler very often.
Okay.
That's why we have the separate meter.
Excuse
Because
me?
that's why we instituted the second meter, because that meter only charges for the use of water and not the sewer.
But you should know, not only did it happen to me, my neighbor next door, same thing, an extra $1,000.
I'm surprised your contractor didn't advise you of that.
I'm going after him next.
Of course.
I'm not happy with him. But what I think should happen is when you go for the permitting process, somebody should say to you, do you know that you could have an exorbitant water bill? And they should tell you that. You should know that. I have a lot of friends that own homes. Nobody knew about this, not just here in Belmar. In other towns, they just have a flat rate. Why don't we have that here?
Because you want to give residents a break. If we do a flat rate, then I mean, there's no separate meter for the.
No, I mean flat rate for the sewage. There's a flat rate for the sewage.
Oh, that's a more complicated issue that I don't, like.
It's not complicated.
I have to find out why we do it the
It's
way we
very
do.
simple. You go by the square feet of your house. That's what they do in a lot of buildings in an Alton. She pays $145 for, if she owns a 2,500 square foot house, her bill's $157. She pays for all the work. In this particular scenario, there's a lot of people paying extra money for things that they're not even getting any service for.
Well,
So I can just.
It's like you're paying extra money.
Right, but the reason we can't do a flat rate with the sewage is because we actually pay into a sewer. We share our sewer service with a bunch of the surrounding towns. We're actually charged based on the amount of flow that we send to that sewer authority. So if we did a flat rate, you could be overpaying, but you could also be underpaying, and all the taxpayers are putting the bill for.
I don't think anybody should be underpaid because you have a certain amount of people living in a house. There's only a certain amount of sewage that's being processed.
It could happen, so.
But I think what's happening is a sneaky way of other people. We're actually subsidizing these people that have sprinkler systems that don't know about it, are subsidizing the water bills for other people because they're paying extra.
Not really.
I just paid it. I'm going to pay $1,000 extra. Who's
Well,
that
that's
money going
because
to?
if you had a separate meter, you would not be subsidizing.
I didn't
the
know
rest of
that
it.
though.
Well,
But I'm just saying,
No.
and there's a lot of people in town that don't know it. In fact, I asked the landscaper who did this, I said, they do a lot of new homes. None of those new homes have a second meter. None of them. So what's happening? They're subsidized. It's not fair. It's not really
Well,
fair.
I see where you're coming from, but, it's in the ordinance, it's in the, I don't even know if the website has it. I'd have to go check and see if there's a.
But there's nothing,
something
there's no
about it.
knowledge of it. People are not aware of it. It's not fair. I don't think it's fair. I mean, I think I really don't think it's fair. Am I gonna get my $1,000 back?
I doubt it.
Why? You tell me why. Can I ask you a question? I didn't use one iota of extra chemicals. There was no shipping, so why do I have to pay the $1,000? Honestly.
Because I don't know how much of that bill
It's
you
very
use.
simple.
Can I speak, please?
That's all.
I don't know how many gallons you use that went into the sewage system as opposed to how many gallons went on your grass. If you didn't water your grass at all, let's take the hypothetical. You put the system in, you didn't water it at all, and you got that bill. Then we have to pay the sewage. What if you used half? Maybe you used only 30 gallons of water, and the rest of it went down the sewer system. We don't know, we're working in the dark.
Let's be low. No,
You
you're
know?
not working in the dark. I disagree with you because guess what? You could bill me, go back the last 5 years for that quarter before I had it, and you could pick the most expensive month and I'll pay that bill. Because that's a history, I have a history of it. You can tell how much water that 3 or 4 people use in a house. They didn't use 87,000 gallons of water through the sewage system. There's no way. So that's why I want to know why I can't get the money back. What prohibits me from getting that money back?
Mayor, I think
You have to
simply,
answer that.
well, you were billed according to our ordinances, so, going forward, you probably should get a second meter, but there may be other ways to bill, but this is the way we bill. So, that water came out, and
But
that's
it's
the
like-
bill, so
it's-
everybody
it's-
has to be, everybody's billed the same way.
It's a
And,
hidden tax, though.
The towns, though, you have to understand, we pass ordinances so that people understand what's permitted and what's not permitted, what the rules are. So we put them out there. The fact that you didn't know the rules,
There's no
It's
rule,
not-
there's nothing.
oh, yes, it is.
There's
The
no rule that
ordinance.
says anything about the second meter. There's nothing, there's
believe it
nothing
is.
when you go for a permit. There's
I don't
no,
know what's in the ordinance.
There's
about
nothing
second
about it.
meter.
and nobody knows. There's all these people in town do not know. You can't say they know, they don't know. All these people, my neighbor next door, who from another town, he didn't know. They don't know.
and I,
You all know, you have second, how many people have second meters? Right?
all right,
How did you know?
this is not a public good.
The building.
If I can summarize, your point is, you don't feel you should be charged for the water that you use through your sprinkler system because you did not know that you could get a separate
I
sprinkler.
disagree with what you just said. Yes,
What do you-
I want
what's
to
the
pay
point
for
you're trying to
the
make?
water that went through the sprinkler
Right.
system. I don't want to pay for the sewage that didn't get processed, because somebody's getting $1,000 of my money.
No, because you didn't know that the ordinance requires that or permits you to put in a separate meter that's only connected to a
But
sprinkler
shouldn't
system.
you be informed when you go to get a permit that that's required, that you should know about that? No.
Did you get a permit for this?
Yes, that's another thing. I paid for the permit, I went down to
Yeah.
town hall, they didn't take it out. The company didn't take it.
You know,
So I
there's a
was-
certain amount of responsibility that each homeowner has.
Right.
And one of those responsibilities is making sure you get a permit.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I'm
if you didn't get a
I'm
permit,
going after them about
well,
that.
I think your
But my
complaint is
point
with
is-
your contractor, not with the borough.
No, it's with the borough because you can, at the permitting process, say, it's not an extra $1,000. Don't get a second meter if you don't wanna pay extra money for nothing, for something you're not getting. You're paying for something you're not getting any use from it. You're paying money, $1,000 for nothing. The town did not incur 1 cent extra money. They did not incur an extra expense.
We understand that,
So
We
why
understand that.
shouldn't they return the money to me?
because we don't know how much
I just
water you
explained
use.
to you how you could figure that out.
How much water do you use watering your grass?
Excuse me?
Can you tell me how much water you use?
I would say
watering
90% of the water was for the grass.
90%. It could be 100%. It could be 50%.
Well,
It
Mayor,
could be, you know,
Mayor,
I think.
not only can you not measure it accurately, but everybody that is in the same situation then would be entitled
But
to
what-
rebates for how many years? Now you know. And
No, I'm
I understand your position about saying somebody should tell you. I mean,
That's right, they should
that-
tell you, that's what I'm
That doesn't mean
asking.
you're not gonna pay that bill. Now you know. Now, there are a lot of ways we can improve things, and giving notice about everything that's in the ordinance, you know, may be one way to go about it, but it may not be, you know, reasonable to expect that, okay? So we write an ordinance, it says how you're billed, that's how you're billed, so you're gonna have to pay that bill, and if you don't wanna get billed the same way, you're gonna need to get another
I am
meter.
gonna get another meter,
Right.
obviously.
Right, well, that's
But
the
I didn't
solution.
know about it, that's the point. My neighbor didn't know about it. Why all these people getting
Sir,
new homes
it's-
don't know about it?
It's
They
written in the
don't know.
ordinances.
Why
A lot
don't
of
they
people
know?
don't know about
Why
any
not?
of the ordinances.
Why not send somebody out when you
I
send?
mean, where's the end of that? I could send a code book to
But you know
everybody in
that's
the
a
town, are they
problem.
gonna read it?
But we know it's a problem. You know that's a problem.
It's not a problem. You're the
Oh, it's
first
not a
person that I've
problem.
heard since January. And I've been coming to meetings for years and years. I've never heard somebody come up and complain about, not having an extra water meter. You're the first person that I've
I'm not
heard
complaining
complain.
about not having it. I'm complaining about the fact that I didn't know that.
Right.
They should have they should have told me. They should have.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse. You know
Mr.
that
Mayor.
phrase?
Okay.
You know,
What I would like you to, since I'm gonna have to pay that $1,000, I brought this up, I was here about 3 months ago. I want a crosswalk on 6th Avenue to go across the street.
There's no entrance on the boardwalk at that.
There
to the
was
boardwalk.
one there for
Well,
the
there
sake.
is one now.
Well, put one there. No, there's not one at every street, but they have it goes across. They go across the street and then they go up the thing. Put one there. Why can't it be put there?
Like,
Why
we're not
can't
gonna
it
put
be put?
crosswalks where people can't.
It's the
get to
only
boardwalk.
street, it's the only street in town that does not have a
We would
crosswalk
have to
on the
look at that.
residential
We
side.
would have to look at that.
It's the only one.
Yeah.
Another
Look at it.
point, you did a very nice job, or whoever did it with the county, what they did with the bridge, you know, with the paving, okay? Why not, I mentioned this about 8th Avenue, why didn't they do the same thing on 8th Avenue while they were in town? They could have figured that out too, with the light on, when you come at 8th and Main. It's a county road.
That's a state road, and they're.
Which one is?
They're 8th and Main, up until Main Street, that's a
You told me it
state
was
road.
county. All right.
It could be dual, but from 35 to Main Street is a state road.
Thank you.
Linda?
I think this gentleman brought up a very good point, that we should learn from this and perhaps provide notice when they get the permit for doing a sprinkler meter. And then, you know, it's not gonna help him now, but it will help other people, and, you know, I feel his pain,
Mhm.
but that's one of the things that if his neighbors don't have it, somebody was remiss on sharing that with him. You know, and
I mean, I don't think we
in
have been
good faith.
remiss. I don't think the borough has been remiss in any
Yes,
way.
I disagree with you. It's a cavalier attitude. That's a cavalier attitude. It's not our problem. You've got to read every single ordinance. You
Sir,
know
you're
that.
out of order. You had your chance to speak.
So to that point though, not everybody gets it, it's not common, you know, I have a second meter because I learned the lesson.
Right.
Water was less expensive when I had that lesson.
Right.
But I think we should be
We can
kind
certainly
to
give
our
out-
neighbors and give them a notice about recommending a second meter.
Sure, why not? We can send them a yearly notice that says, if you want to have a water meter and you want to water your grass, just come in and put in for an extra meter.
So
I mean,
that
that's not
should
a
go
problem.
in when they go for the permit for, you know,
Well-
suggested and the reason why, not everybody
But,
needs it.
but when a contractor goes in for a permit and gets it and doesn't give it to the homeowner, then that's on the homeowner. Because even if we handed the contractor the letter that said, oh, and you can get another meter, if that information isn't shared with the person that he's working or she's working for, then it becomes a moot point at that point. So it really does fall on the contractor. Because most of the contractors that do sprinkler systems, especially in Belmar, know the rules.
Mr. Mayor?
Obviously, he's going to do, but thank you.
All right.
I like you should inform them.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I
Yeah.
didn't know whether, April, and maybe you know this question. Is there anything with the permit that does talk about the second meter?
No, there's nothing that we hand out, but pretty much almost every sprinkler permit we get, unless it comes through the mail, they ask. And we tell them what the rule is. We answer phone calls all the time from the homeowners who call in and say, I'm getting a sprinkler, you know, can I get a second meter, or what is this gonna do? And so we answer those questions, and a lot of the contractors, when they come in to get the permit, they'll go over and talk to the water department and ask what the process is.
Okay, wonderful. Maybe there's something, kind of an education piece or something that we can do for people, with either on the water bill or getting a permit in general.
We could do something similar that we did with the construction and the noise ordinance there, that's pretty simple.
That would be great.
Okay.
That'd be great.
So why don't we just post something outside the window, so when they walk in to get their permit, they'll see, they can, if they want to save money, they can get a separate meter. Any other comments, questions in the back?
Corhainer, 18th B, 19 years ago, we constructed a new home. Did not have a water system, sprinkler system. I was a sprinkler system. But at the time, they said, the town or a contractor or somebody said, you want to put in a second meter, you'll save yourself a lot of money. And we did. And it's worked like a charm for the past 19 years. So whether it came from the town, it came from our contractor. But when we did put the sprinkler system in, first thing they said was, do you want a well? I said, no, we have a second meter. So it does work. It's been out there for quite some time. And I can feel your pain on an extra bill because during Sandy, someone came in to check our house and flush the toilet. And it ran, and it ran, and it ran. So our $700 bill, when nobody was there, we paid it. But, thank you.
Okay. Do you have anything you're going to add to your discussion, or you're just going to repeat what you said before? Come on up.
What I don't like is it's a cavalier attitude about, you have to figure it out. You work for us. We elected you to do something for us. If you can't do something about the 1,000, which I think you should be able to, if you can't, okay. But it's a cavalier attitude that, oh, you know, you should know. You telling me, everybody that I've spoken to, and I'm a smart guy, I'm not a stupid guy, and I have some smart friends and I have some whatever friends. But none of them knew about this. Nobody knows about it. So saying that, oh yeah, people call up and say, can I have a second meter? Nobody knows about it. That's what I'm trying to say. Nobody knows about it. They don't know about it. Maybe the contractor does know about it, maybe they don't. It's a smirk on your face.
Yeah, what I'm saying is,
I really don't get it. I'm honest with you. I don't.
Everyone you know doesn't know about it, but apparently, how many second water meters do we have in town?
Yeah, but these people all live here.
We probably have.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. So some people do know about it.
Yeah,
How
after
they
the
found
fact.
out, I don't know.
After the fact.
I don't know. All right. Any other comments? Yes.
Watergate, 109.6.
Can you say that in the
Jim
microphone?
Jim Watergate, 109.6 Ave. I'm just telling you, I understand your complaint. I know we had the same issue back in Chatham, and there was a whole notification, it was in the mayor's letter, there was a whole bunch of alerts that were sent out, so we can't say we can't notify, we can notify. I mean, it's kind of.
I don't think I ever said we can't notify.
We're not, that is what you're saying, right? I think it's a great idea, notify,
I-
there's ways to notify, I think it's fair.
We can definitely
I think
notify
most people
people.
don't know that.
It's important.
So I just,
We can definitely
it happens in
notify
other
people.
towns, the sewer, it's always an issue, most people don't know it. And then when, we had a water company, they came in and.
And I
actually
take your
replaced it.
point, that does happen in many other towns.
It does, but that,
It's a
you
common
rectify, you notify, you give them a choice. People want choices, right, at least they know, nobody reads ordinances,
Absolutely.
let's be realistic. Two things I wanna talk about, one is the volunteer fire department, I got a chance to watch the video, I sat through two of these meetings back in July and August. Those are tough meetings, to say the least. I think, what I came out of, I think one was, when the fire department was here, and they were all out on the outside of this with their uniforms on, three things they're here for. One is to welcome a new member, one is to thank one that's leaving, and the third one is never good. They don't come in their uniforms because they're happy, they come in because they're pissed, right? And that meeting was really tough, and I think the captain did a great job, the chief did a great job keeping control, but clearly it's been an issue. It's been an issue for many months, not 1 month, not two. So you watch that meeting, I walked out after speaking here that night, and the fire inspector, the past fire inspector that I think resigned, he said back in April, came up to me, because I think, I said some things, and he said to me, let me tell you something, I resigned from the position as fire inspector. Really nice guy, Ryan, great guy, I've talked to a lot of people, really nice guy, qualified, he resigned. This is the guy that feeds his family, and this is part of his job and his income, right? He resigned because things were that bad. The four things that he said to me, which I wrote down, right? I resigned because there's no direction, there's no communication, boy, that's a common theme, which we'll talk about in a minute. There's no priority setting, and quite frankly, the feeling of nobody gives a damn, right? That was really tough. He left his job because it was that bad. He was qualified and he was a good person, right? So that says a lot. The last meeting, right? I'm not gonna debate all the things that were said, but at the end of the day, the one thing we all learn is their volunteer fire department. You treat them in first aid really carefully, you do everything you can to support them. And clearly, we're not supporting them. You can say we are or not. Mr. Levis, thank you for stepping up and disagreeing at that meeting and saying, I disagree and I want to do an investigation. I don't know if anything's came out of that from communication. I think it's pretty clear it's an issue, but at least thank you for stepping up and saying something. What I recommend, and I'm going to be frank about this, is I think you should put Mr. Levis on as council liaison to the fire department, because this isn't working. I mean, it is ugly. And I've never seen a town go through what's happening here. You can say there's a respect back and forth, but it's not good. At least Mr. Levis saw it, and he's willing to say something about it. I would recommend you put him on as council liaison to the fire department, and let him be the representative for the fire department. Because this is, as you can tell, it's not working. So that's recommendation. That's what I would recommend. You do what you want with it, but I think it would help the communication and the flow, because it's not a good flow. And I think you change bad flows and do something differently with it. So that would be my rec. So at least thank you for stepping up and disagreeing and stepping forward. Is there anything that's come out of that discussion or know that you can share, or is it too early to talk further?
Too early to share.
Okay, I'll leave it there. And I'll respect it. Second thing, which I have a different take. We've talked often. I've written letters to the council. You all know the letters of the geese. I have a different take on how I would, or what we all do. I wouldn't go that extreme. I think there's good, easy solutions. But I go back and I spoke about this at the 16th meeting. I sent you all a video of Channel News 12 coming down, doing a thing on the geese, right? And I asked 4 questions. One was, I won't repeat it again, but at least in public, did anyone receive any sort of proposal or bid? And the answer was no, 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 no. And Billy said yes, right, there was one. We went through and we debated it. I checked with our, as I said in my note, town attorneys, 2 of them. It is a legal, it's a legal proposal. That's all it is. You don't have to act on it. It's a legal proposal. Everything, I'll read it. What was in the proposal, which I have, which you all have as well, it's a legal proposal, period. Don't have to act on it, just it was a legal, it was a fully vetted proposal. And so that's number 1, right? Number 2 is, I followed up with the second question, because I knew what was coming up, is I gave you a recommendation from the Wildlife Association to say there's 3 dogs that chase geese. And there were 3 dogs, Collie, Border Collie, German Shepherd, and Australian something or other, right? I said that for a reason. we have a vendor, there's a vendor in town, living around the lake, that has now been, and I've talked to all the towns, all the administrators, everyone else, they've all gotten bids. They didn't, no one required an RFP because it's well under the threshold, so none of them did it. They made decisions within 1 or 2 weeks, hired that person in Lake Como, Spring Lake, 3 different lakes, Bradley Beach, and Avon, right? Talk to them all. Easy, simple, get it done. This proposal has been on your table since February 9th, right? Now I'll read it, so it's on the record, and you do have it. But this was sent on February 9th to resolve an issue. It was for $4,500, right?
Who was it sent to?
It was sent to Billy. I believe we talked last time, Billy, and you both know about the proposal that was sent. This is the one email. We debate again if you want, but it is a legal proposal for the lawyers. And he sent this on the night, and the bid was for a full year's work. It's all right here, $4,500. We didn't act on it. All the other towns around us acted on it. Took them a week. Didn't do an RFP, as all said, no need for an RFP. So help me understand, we're now at this point, I think it was discussed at the last meeting that the RFP supposedly went out, don't know if it did or didn't. Saw Mr. Campbell across the street with his dog the other day, asked him, I haven't heard or saw anything. And then the comment that came back is, well, there's not gonna be a German Shepherd in the RFP, because that's what he has, but a Border Collie, which he happens to have too. It's on his website, it's been there for a while. So the question for the council is, what is going on with this, and why hasn't this person and others been given the RFP if it's even gone out? So that's my question one. Did the RFP go out? And if so, was it notified and everything else?
Yes, it went out.
It went out. Was it notified? Was it
No,
sent?
of course not. We would do it the wrong way. Of course it went out the legal way.
Don't be snippy. Don't pull this crap.
Well, you're asking me a question, did it go out the right way? Of course.
Did it
April sent it out.
Did Mr. Campbell and other, I'll tell you what, he's
We don't send RFPs to people. They come to us.
organizations.
Organizations.
You already
come to
have
us.
a proposal from him. Did you send it to him?
April, do we send RFPs to vendors?
No, they requested from the purchasing agent. It was advertised in the Asbury Park Press and the Coast Star, and with instructions to request the RFP documents from the purchasing agent. And I believe we only received one submission back.
And you were gonna continue to look for others, or you're not?
Well, we're
Because you have one
we're
already
reviewing
in
the
hand.
submission that we received.
What's that?
We're reviewing the submission that was received.
So there is one out there, and this person, Mr. Campbell, can submit a bid, correct?
No, it's past the bid date.
Right.
The bid
Wow.
date's
Oh, so I'll ask a simple question. Did we leave it open, as I said, this thing for Border Collies and German Shepherds, yes or no?
No, you'd have to read the whole bid. There's more to it than just the types of dogs.
Okay, so you've closed the bidding, there's no bidding. So you're gonna take a guy, and again, there's a bid on the table, you owe responsibility to the town, the members. It's $4,500 for the full year, full every day, et cetera. If you're gonna take that bid, that's the only bid you're gonna take, it better be under that, period. Okay, same service though, same service. Third point, the lake, right? I kinda laugh, but I don't. Mr. Frumpkin had said many times at this council meeting back in the spring, and other people as well, the lake, the condition of the lake itself, right? I think I can quote you, I'm pretty sure it was April or May, where you said, I walk that lake every day, the lake's fine, that lake was never fine, and you didn't do anything about it. We're now 8 months, 9 months later with the lake. Now, you walk around the lake, weeds are up to here, it looks terrible. You walk around Lake Como, there's no growth, there's no anything. So we've allowed, and you've allowed, this administration's allowed in a short period of time, this area to become a dump. And I'm offended by that. It was never like this. For 21, 22 years, it was never. Now it is. We had the commission come in and actually test the water. It was a mess. We knew it was a mess. Now everything's growing on the outside of the lake. How do we sit here, all of you, sit here and say, that's acceptable? I don't care what's trying to be done now. We let this happen in a short period of time. I'll leave it at that. To me, it's disgraceful that we've let the lake become what it's been, including the geese.
Mr. Lonnie, thank you for your comments. I'd like to address a couple of them if you're okay with that. First, I would like to say that I think your idea about appointing Councilman Levels as the liaison is great, which is why we did that back in
Oh, you did?
September. Yes. That's okay. It wasn't something we announced particularly publicly. It was just something we decided to do. And I think everyone here on the dais is very supportive of what that is. We've done a lot of work to try and make sure that relationship is repaired.
Thank you.
Of course. As for the lake, I can tell you.
I know you're active.
Thank you. I'm putting in a lot of hours on that, a lot, and I'm trying to hold off on doing a whole presentation until we have solid recommendations from the Silver Lake Committee, of which I'm a part, through the Environmental Commission, on what we want to do and what we're recommending. The consistent feedback we've gotten, amongst other things, that there are problems with the lake, and it has a lot to do with the runoffs going in, because there are 18 different runoffs going into that lake. And a huge watershed, and Mr. Creamer and I were talking about that when we were outside. It was, what you said, 300 acre? Yes, with a lot of chemicals going into it. So that's a problem with the lake, and we've been testing it and talking to different researchers. We will come out with recommendations. We are taking it extremely seriously, and we're looking at different funding. One of the things we know for sure, regardless of the scale of the project that we will recommend, that we will almost definitely be recommending putting in some type of riparian border. Now, one of the reasons the lake looks messy, which I agree with you, is because one of the things that was recommended was letting that grow a little bit to discourage geese. I think it could be done a little bit more intentionally. I've had that conversation, and I hope that it does get a little bit better. But I am very optimistic about where we're going with the lake, and I want to assure you we're taking it really seriously.
Yeah, no, I know, and thank you. I know you've been working on it, so thank you. I will say this, though, the growth, I know it was recommended. I read the article about, there's some recommendations. You don't see that growth in any shape or form around Lake Como, none, right? Because they got the geese out. You saw the geese probably not to grow the grass up to here, right? Get rid of the geese. So we're sitting in mid-October, and we're still talking about geese. And I kind of go back to the same discussion as the gaps here. The fire inspector left in, I think it was late April. At last meeting, I think you mentioned that we're working on putting an RFP out for that. He left in April. It's October. Talk about lack of urgency. I'll do the same thing with the geese. You got a bid in February. It's October. I think that's probably what a lot of the residents feel is, when are we going to get stuff done here? So you can smile, you can do whatever you want. I'm telling you, that's not how it operates. That's unacceptable as a governing body. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? I really would like, come on.
Well, about the geese. Now, this whole thing is costing all sorts of money. We're talking about, you're considering this bid about another border collie to run around after the geese. Mr. Creamer has an idea, which he says works, I don't know, but it would cost money and everything. My idea would cost money, but my idea is through the federal government would cost us less money because the cost is spread out, as we know. All right? So we got the border collie or whatever dog, a chihuahua, whatever it might be, running after the geese and scaring the geese away, which we know doesn't work. Okay. Mr. Kramer's idea of planting or taking care of the grass, he says it's the grass that causes the geese to come and eat, and if we take this certain grass away, they won't come here. Okay, fine, that's an idea. And then there's my idea, to exterminate the geese until they get down to a manageable portion of geese that we won't need. Just like up in Edgewater, the town of state that I showed you, that may have found out. The geese are under control now. They don't have to continue the extermination anymore. And they are going to the dog. However, maybe there's a solution here, because everything costs money, no matter how you look at it. It's going to cost money. Let's spend some money. This is Belmar. We throw money in the gutter like it's nothing. So let's call a special election beyond this election coming up. Give out adequate notice around the town and everything, and give the 3 proposals. Mine, Mr. Kramer's, and yours, which we know and everybody acknowledges doesn't work. Mr. Kramer's might work, and mine is known to work. So let's have a special election, and God help us, have the people decide. Who would have thought such an idea? Let the people call a special election, have it done by this, October, November, have it early in December, and decide the thing. That's a fair idea, I think. Excuse me for using the F word.
Anyone else?
Thank you. Greg Mitchell-Lynette from 1304 Ocean. I just wanted to kudos to the DPW for the outstanding job they're doing, taking that sand off that boardwalk and out of the street and stuff like that. I happen to be at 14th, so I'm coming to the environmental meeting on Thursday, is it?
Yes.
Okay, to talk about maybe planting something at 14th. But kudos, the guys are doing a great job. It was a lot this time, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Next. Good evening.
Drew Fromkin, South Lake Drive. First of all, I just have a minor thing with respect to A Street and that corner at South Lake. For many, many years, I've sort of put my requests in for that corner to be dealt with a little differently, especially in the busy season. People sort of make a circuit, rushing for spots between Ocean Avenue and always A Street because they're trying to find the closest spots. Our street, there are a couple things. First of all, I want to commend the town for a lot of the painting going on. I think it's been it's very noticeable how well that is. For some crazy reason, in the midst of all this wonderful painting, our corner at A Street in South Lake was missed, and it happens, okay? But so I wanted to bring it to the attention that if we could spruce that up because you can't see it.
I'll make a note.
Yeah, please. And then the second thing is it's a one-way street, and the one-way sign is on the east side because it gets buffeted by the winds mostly, is gone, so no one sees it. If you're coming down from the west, you can see it. So anyone coming from the ocean just bangs a left and blows down the street. So I've asked a little bit, a lot of these streets have the do not enter sign, which really catches your attention versus the one-way. So anyway, if someone could look at that. The other thing I wanted to say is that the new house on the corner by the turn by the park, if you're coming up South Lake, there's a very tall house that was built where the Low Ranch used to be. As you bang the hard corner, I don't know if anyone's picturing that right now, but you can't miss the house, okay? The sight lines on that corner are gone, and the corner is always narrowed there, no matter what. People are gonna have a head on there. I mean, it happens every day, either for me, my wife says, oh my God, people come around. The reason is you can't see anyone coming, and I don't know how you can solve that other than widening that spot, but I would suggest maybe a mirror. I know that sounds crazy, but quite often a mirror around that side on a post, people will at least be able to look and see if someone's flying around. But that is actually becoming a real danger, so that's why I'm raising it, even though it hasn't impacted me yet. So the other thing I wanted to bring up is the flooding event, and I'd like to start by saying that was a catastrophic event. We had a lot of water come down pretty quickly, and we saw what happened in Asbury and so many other places. As you all know, and by the way, thank you very much for running around helping people. I mean, everyone was trying to do the same. There were a lot of people really underwater there. This was a very, very scary moment for residents. And as you know, if you go in basements, quite often people get electrocuted. I mean, as soon as water's going in basements, it's not just about losing your luggage. It's now, people are getting killed. And so I got very concerned. I happened to be there that day, and I was able to watch the water rising. And historically, I don't really bother DPW with this because I have a great view of the outlet, and I see what's happening all the time. And last year when I would call, I felt like I was bothering people, that I was watching the lake starting to overflow. So I didn't call this time, but unfortunately, it was very evident to me, given what was happening in the morning and then ultimately what was happening in the afternoon, that lake was gonna either come over the berms or certainly start to back up, and very rapidly everything went underwater. I guess what I wanted to say was I was very, I always knew that lake would back up like that in 30 seconds. The berms, as soon as that water gets up to the sewers, Mr. Kramer pointed this out once in terms of hydrostatic integrity, there is not, the berms don't stop the water. The water comes right through the sewers. Just so happens in my corner, we have 3 sewers. And that happens to be an area where a lot of water comes in, but even if you go down by the playground, in that area, you can see for days it was bubbling out. So I don't want to play Monday morning quarterback. I don't don't think that's very helpful. But I think as a town, we have to take very seriously the fact that we knew it was gonna be a big rain event. And my only question is, are there other things that we need to look at in a post-mortem as to leading up to that event? What did we think about? Is there more we can do in terms of letting that lake down ahead of time? Do we even know as a town how much that watershed, really that sewer shed, for every inch of rain that comes down, enters that lake? There are math problems all over the place here. Engineers will know. How quickly will that lake come up? How many feet does that lake have to be down, assuming a 3-inch rain that's coming? And that should be able to be analyzed on the front end. So I guess without going into great details about the plan itself, I would just ask that there be a postmortem, that we look at what led up to this, what happened afterwards. I did notice that South Lake was underwater and Fifth Avenue was not. I'm sure that has a lot to do with a lot of things, but I also know that the watershed tends to go south from there underneath, so that's why I think more basements there were probably affected. I don't really know what happened on Fifth and Fourth. But I would ask that the town do a postmortem and really look at what led up to this and think about two things: short-term ways that we can get ahead of these things, and then potentially longer-term infrastructure thoughts to just start tweaking that system so we can handle it better. And I know part of the lake plan is to think about that more broadly. I can stop for a second if you want to say.
No, I was gonna say, I agree with you, especially with climate change coming.
This is not gonna be the last thing.
These 6-inch rainfalls are gonna be the least of our worries.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I won't go to the beach plan at this point, but I think we should be obviously looking at that as well, which I hope you're doing. And the only other thing is, I think the communication was lacking that day. I may be wrong. I didn't follow it explicitly, but the first nixle I got was at 2 o'clock saying, "Watch out for flooding," and I was swimming down the street at that point. So I worry a lot more about elderly and people who can't get out or don't know what to do at that point. If we know it's even gonna rain hard, we don't lose by telling people there may be flooding the night before and then sticking with it all day. And second of all, Chief, you do a great job. Your police force is excellent. But I would ask that there's gotta be a way, even with a bullhorn or people just knocking on doors when people start getting underwater, to just make sure that they're okay. And I wouldn't be beyond having residents band together and have a system where we can get out of the house and knock on doors and make sure people are okay. Last thing tonight, because I like the 5-minute rule, I don't know where I am, but I'm probably pushing up against it. I did want to say to the chief, these are really brutal times. I'm very close to Israel. It's important to me. I'm involved constantly with that region. It's been a brutal week. I think as Americans, we have to realize this is a proxy for what we could be dealing with here at any moment. That has nothing to do with fast cars and bad mufflers and all the things you get every week here in town. I'm, as a resident, not aware of how your force is built, how many police officers you have. Do you have the things you need in town? Are we state of the art? Do we have enough officers? Do you have enough training? Do you have enough equipment for the officers? Because I think as a town in this day and age, we have to be very sure that we're gonna need to rely very heavily on a very strong police force. And I just would like to say for the residents and everything, I would love to see us be tremendously behind this police force, making sure we're hearing you day in and day out about what's lacking, what's not there for you. And I think the residents will rally to make sure that you have what you need. But unless we know, it's hard for us to be supportive. So, maybe there will be a time where we can have a presentation or something about how things are going, where your gaps are. I'd be very happy to be involved in fundraisers for this force. Just so happened a neighbor of mine was ill recently and was taken to the hospital, and some of the officers were there. I was called by the wife who left the medication upstairs, so we went over and, of course, we set the alarm off. And my wife said, "No, I shut it off fast enough." I said, "No, the officers can be here." And I walked into the garage, and 2 officers standing right there. I didn't look that menacing, so they didn't shoot me on sight, but they asked me, I did tell them I was there before I stepped out though. But anyway, the point was they were very polite, they're very professional. I also had another great story, but I won't waste people's time. It's a very funny one, I'll tell you offline. But your officers are excellent, and I want to make sure that this town is in a position to protect our citizens in a way that is state of the art. So please, I ask you if you can help us understand what your needs are. I think we can help the force. So. That's all I have this evening, thank you.
Can I just make a comment about the police department? I do know, Mr. Fromkin,
Yeah,
that
sure.
we had police come into both the high school and the grammar school and did a whole talk about active shooter situations in school.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, because they did a whole presentation to all the parents at a PTA meeting about how prepared they are for an active shooter situation were it to happen in school. So if some officer would like to come to a council meeting and do a little mini presentation, I'm sure that would be wonderfully.
I'm sure they're gonna nominate me to do that.
Wonderfully received, but I can tell you that it was rest assured to me as a parent
Yeah.
that my kids were super safe because of all the training that Belmar does.
Yeah.
And Belmar trains other towns on active shooter situations, so I do know, I feel my kids are safe, but that's a great point to make, but just so you know.
I think this speaks to the quality of the force. What I always am concerned about is the breadth of the force, the quality of new recruits. I mean, this is a problem nationally and in the state and everything. So how can we step up and get the most competitive force? And I think you have to market it, you have to create a culture that's gonna attract people. So anyway, you know the point there for sure. There was one other thing that you brought up now, but I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? People?
It's a different side. Sorry, the opinion is, I wasn't here during the flooding, but I live on Sixth, and I got a picture of it while I was on vacation. The question is, I don't know what happened. We spent like, I don't know, 5 million, 6 million to do drainage of that lake when it's full. So what happened? I wasn't here, so I don't know what happened. And the second part of that is, thank God I don't have a cellar, but my neighbor down the block, he's still pumping water out. Because what happens when you have that overflow of flooding, it raises the water level. And now, guess what? Next time it rains, and it's supposed to rain this weekend again, he's gonna flood again, because that's what happened after Sandy. The water level rose so high that the June after Sandy, we had about a 10 or 12 inch rainfall, and a lot of people flooded out again. So it's important to get that water flow done properly. That's all I got to say. Why was it drained out or not?
Yes, the outflow pipes were open early. On the, I think it was just a
But it wasn't
matter
enough?
of, I think it was just a matter of the amount of rainfall and how quickly it came. The ground wasn't able to absorb it. Anyone else?
Okay, can I have a motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting?
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.